Most people think becoming a millionaire requires doing something extraordinary, a breakthrough idea, a perfectly timed investment, a level of discipline most people don't have. The data says the opposite. Most millionaires didn't do anything impressive while they were getting wealthy. They followed a handful of ordinary behaviours consistently for a very long time. And that's where the confusion starts. Most of what we hear about wealth is built on stories, not patterns. One person's experience, one lucky break, one perfectly timed decision. Stories are compelling, but they are also misleading. So instead of asking individuals how they became millionaires, today we're asking something far more reliable. The data, specifically the Federal Reserve's Survey of Consumer Finances, one of the most detailed financial snapshots ever created. It tracks millions of US households across income, age, assets, debt, and financial behaviour. Not opinions, not motivation, behaviour. And when you stop looking at highlight reels and start looking at statistical reality, something surprising shows up. Millionaires don't behave the way the internet says they do. They don't rely on flashy strategies. They don't constantly optimise. And they don't live dramatically different lives from everyone else. At least not early on. Instead, they share a small set of habits that are almost boring in how ordinary they are. But here's the key. Boring isn't the absence of progress. It's what progress looks like while it's still working. So today we're breaking down the 5 boring habits that show up again and again among real-world millionaires, based on the most recent Federal Reserve data, using medians, not averages, so we're looking at what's normal and repeatable, not distorted by the ultra-wealthy. And if you appreciate calm, data-backed financial clarity instead of hype, take a second to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who's trying to build wealth the boring way. And here's the question I want you thinking about as we go. Which of these habits do you already have? And which one are you still missing? Habit number 1, they save a lot consistently. When people imagine millionaires, they usually picture one of 2 extremes: luxury, yachts, jets, massive homes, or extreme frugality. No spending, no enjoyment, no life. The data shows neither. According to the Survey of Consumer Finances, millionaire households do save differently, but not obsessively. The difference is consistency. Over long periods of time, millionaire households typically save around 20 to 25% of their income. Non-millionaire households save closer to 5 to 8%. But the most important detail isn't the percentage, it's the persistence. Nearly 80% of millionaire households report saving regularly, even during years when income is uneven or disrupted. That matters more than people realise, because wealth isn't built during perfect years. It's built by not abandoning the plan during imperfect ones. Job changes, kids, moves, economic downturns. Savings doesn't disappear, it adjusts. And when you cross-reference income, savings behaviour, and net worth, something critical becomes clear. Most millionaires did not start with extraordinary incomes. What separates them is a high baseline savings rate applied over decades. The habit isn't willpower, it's structure. Savings comes off the top. Lifestyle grows slower than income, and the habit survives pressure. Habit number 2, they invest. Almost all of them. Here's a truth the data makes impossible to ignore. You cannot save your way to $1 million without asset growth. Investment participation is one of the clearest dividing lines between millionaire and non-millionaire households. Over 90% of millionaire households own equities, stocks, mutual funds, ETFs, or retirement accounts. Only about 55% of non-millionaire households invest at all. That gap alone explains a massive share of the wealth difference. Saving matters. But investing is what turns savings into something larger. And once households move past the middle of the wealth distribution, portfolios shift decisively toward growth-producing assets. Millionaires aren't cash-heavy. Cash feels safe, but it doesn't compound. Over time, cash quietly loses purchasing power. What feels like protection slowly becomes erosion. And here's what people often miss. Millionaires are not stock-picking geniuses. The portfolios are remarkably plain. Most hold broad index funds, target date funds, or diversified equity exposure inside retirement accounts. Not concentrated stock bets, not complex strategies, not speculative gambles. The goal isn't to outsmart the market, it's to stay exposed to business growth and keep contributing regardless of market conditions. The sophistication isn't in selection, it's in discipline. Boring portfolios don't make headlines, but they quietly compound, and over decades, consistency beats cleverness. Habit number 3, they use tax-advantaged accounts aggressively. This is where many people overthink too early. They debate Roth versus traditional. They argue about brackets. They optimize before they even have assets. The data tells a simpler story. Over 85% of millionaire households hold assets in tax-advantaged accounts. 401ks, IRAs, Roth accounts, and similar vehicles. And the difference isn't subtle. Millionaire households typically hold hundreds of thousands of dollars in these accounts. Non-millionaire households hold a fraction of that. That gap didn't come from clever tax tricks. It came from consistent funding over decades. Tax-advantaged accounts do 3 things extremely well. They automate saving and investing, they reduce friction, and they allow compounding to work without annual tax drag. Over a career, tax drag alone can cost 6 figures in lost growth. Millionaires treat these accounts as infrastructure, not an afterthought. Habit number 4, they control the big expenses, especially housing. This is where the wealth path quietly bends. Millionaires could afford more, but often choose not to. As net worth rises, housing cost-to-income ratios fall. Debt burdens shrink. Flexibility increases. Millionaires don't avoid home ownership, they avoid overhousing. Housing isn't just an expense, it's gravity. The heavier it is, the harder everything else becomes. The data shows millionaire households are more likely to buy once, stay put, and avoid serial upgrading. Many became millionaires before upgrading homes, not because of it. Lower housing costs create margin, and margin protects every other habit. And this is what makes housing discipline so powerful. It creates choices. Millionaires don't all earn massive incomes. Many never earned more than low to mid 6 figures at their peak. They didn't all inherit wealth. Most built it slowly, over time. They didn't time markets perfectly. They lived through crashes, recessions, inflation, and uncertainty, just like everyone else. But by controlling their largest fixed expense, they gave themselves room to save, invest, and stay invested. Housing restraint isn't about sacrifice, it's about optionality, the ability to absorb shocks without breaking the system. Lastly, habit number 5, they stay invested for a long time. This habit ties everything together. The median age of a millionaire household head is around 60. Most people don't become millionaires early, they become millionaires eventually. Wealth doesn't grow linearly. It's slow at first, almost invisible. Then, after decades, it accelerates. In your 20s and 30s, you do most of the work. In your 40s and 50s, compounding starts doing more of it for you. Picture 2 households earning similar incomes in their 30s. One saves inconsistently, upgrades frequently, and steps out of the market during downturns. The other saves steadily, invests through volatility, controls housing costs, and lets time do the work. In year 5, the difference is barely noticeable. In year 10, it's modest. By year 30, it's enormous, even though neither household did anything remarkable. Becoming a millionaire isn't about speed, it's about staying in the game. When you step back and look at all 5 habits together, a pattern becomes impossible to ignore. None of them are exciting, none of them go viral, none of them make great screenshots, and yet, together they work. Because wealth isn't built by doing one big thing right, it's built by doing a few small things consistently, even when progress feels slow, even when no one is watching, and even when the payoff feels far away. Because the hardest part of building wealth isn't the mechanics, it's the silence. For the first decade, sometimes longer, almost nothing seems to change. You're saving while friends are upgrading. You're staying invested while headlines scream panic. You're controlling housing costs while neighbours renovate. And the whole time you're wondering if it's working, because you can't see it yet. That's the real test. Not intelligence, not optimization, just the willingness to keep doing something boring long enough to find out if it works. Most people quit before they ever find out. Millionaires don't. Most millionaires didn't feel wealthy while they were building wealth. For years, sometimes decades, they felt ordinary. They saved when it wasn't fun, they invested when it felt uncomfortable. They stayed invested when it felt pointless. They controlled expenses when others upgraded. And they kept going when results weren't obvious. And then, quietly, something shifted. Not because they changed strategies, but because time finally caught up with their consistency. Wealth isn't built in moments of excitement. It's built in long stretches of boredom, right up until it isn't. And that's good news, because it means you don't need perfect timing. You don't need insider knowledge, and you don't need to be exceptional. You just need to stay in the game long enough for boring habits to do what they've always done. Work. If this video helped bring clarity to how wealth is actually built, give it a like. It helps more people find calm, realistic financial guidance. If you're new here, consider subscribing and drop a comment below. Which of the 5 habits matters most, or which one are you working on right now? This is MindCraft, where ideas become action and action becomes your future.